Tom Tit Tot. Once upon a time there was a woman, and she baked 5 pies, and when they came out of the oven, they were that overbaked the crusts were too hard to eat. So she says to her daughter, "Daughter," says she, "put them their pies on the shelf, and leave them there a little, and they'll come again." She meant, the crust would get soft. But the girl, she says to herself, "Well, if they'll come again, I'll eat him now," and she set to work and ate him all, first and last. Well, come supper time the woman said, "Go you, and get one o' them their pies, I dare say they've come again now." The girl went and she looked, and there was nothing but the dishes. So back she came and says she, "No, they ain't come again." "Not one of them?" says the mother. "Not one of them," says she. "Well, come again, or not come again," said the woman. "I'll have one for supper." "But you can't, if they ain't come," said the girl. "But I can," says she. "Go you, and bring the best of them, best or worst," says the girl. "I've ate 'em all, and you can't have one till that's come again." Well, the woman she was done, and she took her spinning to the door to spin, and as she spun she sang, "My daughter ha ate 5 pies today, my daughter ha ate 5 pies today." The king was coming down the street, and he heard her sing, but what she sang he couldn't hear, so he stopped and said, "What was that you were singing, my good woman?" The woman was ashamed to let him hear what her daughter had been doing, so she sang, instead of that, "My daughter ha spun 5 skeins today, my daughter ha spun 5 skeins today." "Stars o' mine," said the king, "I never heard tell of anyone that could do that." Then he said, "Look you here, I want a wife, and I'll marry your daughter. But look you here," says he, 11 months out of the year she shall have all she likes to eat, and all the gowns she likes to get, and all the company she likes to keep, but the last month of the year she'll have to spend 5 skeins every day, and if she don't I shall kill her." "All right," says the woman, for she thought what a grand marriage that was, and as for the 5 skeins, when the time came, there'd be plenty of ways of getting out of it, and likeliest, he'd have forgotten all about it. Well, so they were married, and for 11 months the girl had all she liked to eat, and all the gowns she liked to get, and all the company she liked to keep. But when the time was getting over, she began to think about the skeins and to wonder if he had him in mind. But not one word did he say about him, and she thought he'd wholly forgotten him. However, the last day of the last month he takes her to a room she'd never set eyes on before. There's nothing in it but a spinning wheel and a stool, and says he, "Now, my dear, here you'll be shut in tomorrow with some victuals and some flax, and if you haven't spun 5 skeins by the night, your head'll go off." And away he went about his business. Well, she was that frightened. She'd always been such a gatless girl, that she didn't so much as know how to spin. And what was she to do tomorrow with no one to come nigh her to help her? She sat down on a stool in the kitchen, and law, how she did cry. However, all of a sudden she heard a sort of a knocking low down on the door. She upped and opened it, and what should she see but a small little black thing with a long tail, that looked up at her right curious, and that said, "What are you crying for?" "What's that to you?" says she. "This is what I'll do." "Never you mind," that said, "but tell me what you're crying for." "That won't do me no good if I do," says she. "You don't know that said, and swirled that's tail round. "Well," says she, "that won't do no harm, if that don't do no good," and she upped and told him about the pies, and the skeins, and everything. "This is what I'll do," says the little black thing, "I'll come to your window every morning and take the flax and bring it spun at night." "What's your pay?" says she. That looked out of the corner of that's eyes, and that said, "I'll give you 3 guesses every night to guess my name, and if you haven't guessed it before the month's up you shall be mine." Well, she thought she'd be sure to guess that's name before the month was up. "All right," says she, "I agree."